Pretty sure I set it so that there were subtitles. There were. Awesome. Okay. I think we're good to go. Sup, Shredders? How you doing? Welcome to this live stream today. We are doing a review of Fujii Kaze's Help Ever, Hurt Never album. We're going to be reviewing all 11 of these tracks today. Usually we would do a JHL album at the start of the month, but I've decided to put the next album at 8K subs, just so that like I can work with other musicians and do other albums as well. There's a lot of really good music out there, and you know, especially as at some point we're going to run out of J albums to do, I want to sort of like separate from that a little bit and kind of branch out and see what else is out there. I've personally have been looking forward to reviewing this album. Fujii Kaze is a phenomenal musician, incredibly talented vocalist and pianist, and I'm just keen to hear more of him, you know? I'm keen to hear a lot more of him. So we're going to be, again, reviewing all 11 tracks. I've also got lyrics here for this as well. I'm going through Genius for this, and for whatever reason, Genius does not, it does not really cope well with the formatting from like a web device. It likes to put the ads here. So I've got ads today, and I think that's part of the reason why it's like kind of split in half here. So if I make the lyrics bigger, it turns into this nonsense, which isn't particularly good for anyone, including myself. But I will make sure to use the lyrics function here so that anybody who is familiar or native with the Japanese language will be able to understand it. Hello, Blittenbox, and hello, Shinyida. Hello to everyone. And if you are watching this and you're not subscribed or you're not used to these reviews, please do subscribe. I do album reviews twice a month. The next album review is going to be of King Cobra. I can't guarantee that will be particularly everyone's tastes. King Cobra is fairly divisive. I'm doing that as a return to give him another try, as I've had people ask me to review his stuff in the past, and the reviews I've done on him, while I haven't traditionally enjoyed the music that much as a whole, people are still quite interested, so I do try to sort of pay attention to this. But anyways, Fujii Kaze today. Starting with Nan-Nan. We're going to listen through this track from start till finish, as well as the others. And we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. I'm going to check on the audio as well about after the first track and just make sure it's good. Because the last thing I want is for the audio to not be good for the entirety of the stream. But yeah, we will go from there. Really need to learn to type. Yeah, let's go. Let's do this. Nan-Nan. Again, there's a show of his piano skills there instantly. His vocals are very warm and soothing to listen to. They're charming. It's a great time, you know? Really great time. Really easy to follow bass line. Really kind of funky with some interesting sort of organ sounds on the sides. You know, 5 minutes 20, I don't mind the intro just being a little bit slow. His vocal tone is so chill. It's so chill, such a relaxed tone to it, you know? I adore it to pieces. Great legato technique. Sup, Blue Kid fan? How you doing? And can you hear those little bits of guitar in the background there? That little additional layer in the mid-range there, those sort of jazzy extensions there? They're slick as hell, man. I wonder who's doing the backing vocals. Like, does he do the backing vocals himself, or does he get other people to do it for him? That makes me genuinely curious, you know? Good job, Shinunoga. I like that, actually. I like those backing vocals, how they're a little more energetic with that Nan-Nan part, you know? Makes it a little bit more catchy, but it is a very suave performance, you know? The drums are mixed phenomenally. The dynamic range was getting those quieter hits in is fantastic. And the use of those sort of triplet tone fills there is a great adjustment from the quarter and eighth note accents that we've had so far within this track. It's just a vibe, dude. It's just a vibe. Can you hear that bass and guitar as well? In the low end, I will check the volume levels after this, but if you can hear that bass guitar rolling around not only the octave shapes, but also the triads, it's such a colorful little bit of movement there in that low range that we're not really getting from the other sort of key parts or anything, because we've got more of a sort of a slow kind of feel in the interlude from Fujii Kaze there. I'm glad that we've got the bass coming in and showing their dexterity as well. Nan-Nan. Again, that call and response. Nan-Nan. It just makes for a really interesting listening, you know? Oh, sorry, wait, we've got lyrics as well. I keep forgetting that we have lyrics, right? He is a good music artist, absolutely. To be fair, I don't know how the Japanese just have such tremendous studio quality. Like, it can be hit and miss with a lot of the Western stuff, but any band that I hear from Japan is just on point every single time. I don't know what they're doing with their mixing and mastering over there, but it's phenomenal. They've got all the tricks, man. It's awesome. Got a bit of scat here. Excellent. What I like as well is that there aren't too many, like with these extensions that you have these jazzy seventh chords and etc., maybe even some ninths occasionally, you never have too many lead elements in there despite the complication, the complexity of the overall harmony. And I like the fact that as well, his vocals are placed on the sides there and it balances out the stereo field really well. I think it's a really competent arrangement done really well from a studio perspective. It's incredibly sophisticated and a fantastic first impression to this musician, you know? And if he's responsible for doing this all himself, I am blown away by that because it takes a phenomenal amount of talent to be able to do that. And we just got this instrumental outro. Again, it's so solid. No complaints whatsoever on my end, you know? Shows their instrumental, you know, their proficiency, their personality. I look forward to checking through the lyrics in a moment. And just that little run on the piano at the end. It's fantastic. Lucid fan says Fujii Kaze is polished and great, but I personally prefer that grit and messiness in some of my favorite music. I know you do, and some of the stuff we listen to has that, and it's fantastic. There's nothing wrong with a few rough edges. Hope to hear some stuff that is less overproduced. Fair enough. Fair enough. Then you can check out his YouTube channel that has tons of his covers of other songs. That's fantastic. That's great that he's also doing covers of other songs. It's great that he looks into other musicians and tries to reinterpret them on his own basis. Shinunoga-E-Wa says, honestly, I've heard of this guy, but I know very little about him. Just know that he is a good music artist. I would agree with that absolutely. And yeah, I can't get away. I can't get over the production quality. You know, it's fantastic. But yeah, we got lyrics here, and again, apologies for the small, how small the text is here. You'll notice the ads are really big. It's just this website is very poorly formatted. I can't get this to go bigger. Now, I know that I've actually reviewed this track before, so this is kind of like reading the story again. I'm getting real kind of like frustrated by the amount of ads I'm getting from Google here. That's okay. Don't you want to know all about it? I love you all the time, even though it's through thick and thin. You can't see me, you ignore me because I'm too close to you. You're walking alone in the rain. So is this talking about someone who's like, what do you got? What is this track about? Because to me, it seems like it's about someone looking at so someone that is not imperfect and you want them to be safe, but you also know that you can't overstep your boundaries. What the fuck is that? Why didn't you listen to me at all? What is that face? We made a vow. What was that smile? What on earth was that tears on your face? You with confidence dive into the honey bucket again. Okay. What on earth was that tears on your face? I don't know. So is this just about a person you keep watching making the same mistakes again? Like, what the hell is this? Why are you doing this? That's my interpretation of it. It's got that kind of laid back, kind of soothing tone to it that makes me feel as if, you know, it is about someone just watching someone comically go through life, kind of like stepping over their own toes. And it's just Fujii Kaze kind of processing that and trying to make his own statements on it. Shinunoga-E-Wa says, I don't know Japanese very well, and my English isn't very good, but now I am listening to English broadcasters reviewing Japanese singers' live broadcasts. I find amazing. Isn't technology incredible? It's fantastic, eh? And Blue Dinner Box says, I'm playing his cover album recently. Oh, so he's got a... Wait, what the hell? Whoa. What happened there? What happened? Whoa, where did you go? What happened? Oh. What happened? Oh, okay. Wow, okay. I don't know what happened there. I think I made Opera crash. Wow, that was kind of crazy. What's up, fan Xing Yang? Welcome to the live stream. I'm glad that people are enjoying his stuff. I don't know what the hell happened then. Opera just had a meltdown. I'm using that as my thing at the moment. But that's okay. And Paul says, I heard his album a long time ago, and I remember that his music melody is very beautiful. Well, that's fantastic. I'm just going to check the volume of that, and I'll turn it up if need be. But yeah, then we'll continue with the next track. What's your favorite song off the album? What's your favorite song off of the album? Yeah, just let's fix this. Okay. Give me a word. Yeah, and I'm happy with that for now. If we need more volume, we can add that later on. We got Moe-E-Wa though, track number 2. Yeah, cool. Let's continue. Moe-E-Wa. Yeah, thanks for that, Shinunoga-E-Wa. It's good to have you here, bud. Moe-E-Wa. A little bit darker than the previous one, isn't it? Hopefully work is going well for everyone. Hopefully you guys are having a nice weekend. I mean that genuinely, you know? Oh, I love that Moogish bass in the low end. Oh, that major chord there, that bum is wonderful. It's so bright and refreshing. I think it's the tones and textures of the synths that he uses that help to elevate this music. Hopefully the supermarket's going well, Jacob. Luke fan. So going back into that minor tone there, I love the piano as well as the drums and all the bass sounds and everything. There's just really interesting sounds within this. Unpredictable harmonies. Nice use of Foley with the news report, you know? What effect does he got on that piano there? It's like a honky tonk with a little bit of some vibrato or something on it. It's a really fascinating tone. These subtle harmonies here, these double tracks that he does there, add just a little bit of dimensionality and depth to it and kind of make it more interesting to listen to a similar melody than what we had before. Feels like we're getting further through the song. Oh, this bridge is eloquent. And how things just kind of come down a little bit. And usually I'm not like typically approving of that kind of drop there. That you know, that's quite a low thing to go from the floatiness of that bridge down into that chorus. But he comes in sort of softly, so it's not as aggressive, you know? The subtlety of those guitars on the right adds a more sort of chic kind of feel to it. Solo section? Oh, okay, we're gonna keep it fairly vocal based. Okay. The fluff, sorry to interrupt going back into that chorus, but I like the fluffiness of the pads and how the guitar just kind of sinks into it like it's in bed. Yeah, fantastic vocal run at the end there. I'm really enjoying the fact that Fujii Kaze, he just allows the instruments to lead it out for this outro. I really appreciate that. The keys, the electric keyboard with those interesting extensions on top of the main harmonies is great. That bass line is a lot more supportive in this one for this really long fade out. You get a feeling that there's a phenomenal chemistry between the individual members of this act. Just by the fact that they have that freedom to be able to, articulate themselves like that without the vocals needing to constantly be the center of attention. It's like real music. You know what I mean? Yeah. And just before I get into the lyrics, we got, hopefully work is going well, Shinunoga. Blue Dinner Box says, Toku-Ninai is my fave. It's a chill song. That's cool. So that's number 7. Luke found in the supermarket, listening to it while shopping. Tracks feel like a throwback to the old school 60s and 70s R&B. I would agree with that. I think that there is a movement in music nowadays where a lot of artists, especially Western artists, are trying to capture the smoothness of some of that stuff from that era because it worked, whilst trying to incorporate more contemporary elements. And it works sometimes, and it works other times. I have to sort of like have a listen to more stuff off the top 40 to really sort of like give specific examples. But when I do listen to the radio, I can hear like the return of these sort of chordal extensions, these jazzy parts that we didn't really have throughout the 2010s. But now in 2020s, they're fashionable again. Fan Ching Yang says, second album is my fav in this album. Oh, so there you go, Moe-Wa. I'm probably going to like both of these tracks so far, actually. There's things I really enjoy about both of them. I would like to hear more solo instrumental parts, but I understand that for Moe-Wa, it's more of an aesthetic than anything else. And Paul says, I forgot my favorite song, but I just checked my song list and I found that I collected the 6th and the 7th track. So we got 2 for Toku-Ninai and Chosi-Nochate. Is that Italian? I think that might be Italian if I'm not mistaken there, that title, but lyrics time. Not that one. This one. Cool. So not Nan-Nan, we got Moe-Wa. Okay, so what's this one about? Okay, so I think this is about letting someone kind of like letting loose on the reins of the pressure that they think that they're under there. It's about sort of like stepping away from the pressure of it and allowing themselves to be their own person. Knock on the door you've closed. Oh, okay. So it's about like opening the door you've closed, not allowing yourself to be too held out. There's time to change things, you know. It's over now. That's enough. Do the best you can, then leave the rest to him. Oh, okay. So this is about like a relationship that didn't work. You've tried to love the person, but you've done as much as you can, and you now need to go away. Okay. Interesting. Let yourself flow as your inner wind blows. Oh, okay, cool. So this is basically about supporting someone through like a difficult breakup. Trying to help them find peace in the situation and find their own strength in the face of adversity, so to speak. I believe that's fantastic. Dude, these messages and these songs are wonderful so far. I'm really enjoying that. Really wholesome, you know? Really wholesome. Really wholesome stuff. We go track number 3 now. Yasashisa. Okay, more piano frontal here. That's fine. Listening time. That little fling there, da-da-dum, you know, switching to that, again, that jazzy extension there, that 7th chord, that sort of progression there, typical for the genre. It's unexpected because we have something kind of clean going and then, oh, change. What's this? And then the vocals come in, you're like, oh, you sucked it. Sounds like we're kind of like a bird trying to fly but struggling to get into the air at those end parts. It's very emotive. The vocal performance works well with the strings of the piano. Oh my goodness, that is so smooth, dude. It's so smooth that that kind of whisper of voice, like he's sweetly talking to you. Those little flutters, exploring their dynamic range. Oh, so he's bringing in some heavier bass here, elevating his vocals to an upper register here. Wonderful. Great development there. Little twinkles of the right hand of the piano on the left side. Oh, so he's panning. He's done something interesting here where he's panned the closed hi-hats on one side and the open hi-hats on the other side of the stereo field. So you kind of go ba 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 ba. You know what I mean? That's wonderful. The track sounds yasashi gentle. It does. Thank you for that, Blue Dinner Box. I really want to learn Japanese. I'd quite like to go to Japan at some point. I'd like to go there for a couple of weeks and explore. That 808 is so smooth, dude. The 90s R&B vibes are strong with this one. He's exploring various eras within this album. I just want to step in while I have the opportunity. Wasn't that falsetto gorgeous? Wasn't that some beautiful falsetto from Fujii Kaze there? Just the control with that vibrato and that legato run was sensational. And that little twinkle on the piano at the end. And switch up with the percussion now. Some sort of trappish elements there, maybe some industrial beats. We got range there rhythmically, it's great. What an absolute champ, man. And he just finishes with the piano line there, with the reverb tail sounding out. It was really interesting to have the alternative piano percussion at the end. I wasn't expecting it to get that busy, and it kind of made me nervous a little bit, because up until that point, especially with the understanding that it sounds yasashi, or gentle, as Blue Dinner Box explained, you know, I was really thinking, okay, so is this going to be too busy without those hi-hats especially? And no. They made the hi-hats a sub-layer. It's wonderful. They managed to find that balance there, and I'm really impressed with that. I don't know if I liked it as much as the other two tracks. There were parts I enjoyed, but it just didn't really sort of pique anything inside of me. Although you know, there's just really no weak points. I just don't know. I don't know why I didn't like this one as much as the other two. It's I don't know. I will check the lyrics and see how they go. But now you can understand why I listen to this album. Sorry, let me actually read that properly. Blue Dinner Box. Now you can understand why I can listen to this album all day. I can understand that. Absolutely. I mean, to be honest, it sounds like a very, very listenable album. And Fan Qingyang says, I was excited about him in 2020 as my brother was about Jay Chou's talent when Jay debuted in 2000. That's crazy. That's wild. Would it be fair to say that Fujii Kaze is one of the biggest Japanese artists at this point in time? Would that be like a fair statement to make? Because I get the inclination that that may be the case, you know. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, you know. Yasashisa lyrics for that. What you were looking at now, what were you looking at now? I dreamt about you. Oh. Oh, okay. So this is about someone who is looking at another person who's so full of love, and they don't feel like they're worthy of it. You know, all I can do is swim in that love. To be treated, not tiny nothing, I have nothing at all. To be treated with kindness always makes me feel ashamed. That's an incredibly sad line. To be treated with kindness always makes me feel ashamed is incredibly sad. It seems like Fujii Kaze is an extremely authentic human being, and I have a lot of respect for that. Frozen heart melting into love, flowering season is coming back. So I suppose that this song is about celebrating the love that people have and not like kind of how do I say this? This song is about appreciating the beauty of love, you know, not taking it for granted and expressing that with love we can overcome boundaries and make things better than they currently are, which I think makes a lot of sense to me. I think that's a beautiful story. I really do. Absolutely. I'm gonna. That story is wonderful, so I'm gonna give that a like as well. Sometimes the music can be good, and the lyrics can the music can be great, and the lyrics can be just that little bit more, in my opinion. You know what I mean? That extra icing on the cake. Blue Dinner Box says he's one of the biggest right now, and he's got a lot of overseas fans because the songs sound international in some way. Yeah, they do. In my opinion, I think the reason they sound international is because he's got a lot of the sounds of R&B from like the 60s, the 70s, as well as the 90s. A lot of those sounds that a lot of the Western audience, especially people in there, like, well, I mean, to be fair, like with like the newer generation, Gen Z, etc., like there's a lot of that kind of extensions and like the jazzy kind of like soloist kind of stuff with the chords and stuff. But especially anyone who grew up in the 90s and 2000s with like the R&B and like soul era and all those different sort of synths and stuff like that, you know. Plus, he's also just a fantastic singer. He puts all of his tracks in Romanji as well, if I'm not mistaken, so it's easy for someone like me to read them. There is a clear understanding of how to make your stuff more accessible to an international audience, whilst also not losing what makes it work domestically. It's an absolute powerhouse. Absolute powerhouse. Because especially like for me, like if I wanted to, you can't copy and paste the text in this. I've got to open up another tab in like an internet browser and then go show credits and then put it into a translator. But you can just type the letters into a translator to understand what it's about. It's great. We've got Kiri ga Naikara, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I've reviewed this, haven't I? I'm pretty sure that I've reviewed this one. the fluctuating kind of waterous kind of synth in the background with these really sort of this future bassist kind of pads. Oh my goodness, that's such a sexy sounding bass synth. I think he's also got the production chops of a lot of like the EDM artists from the 2010s. There's a lot of the best elements of various decades of music within this. I thought so, yeah. Yeah, I thought I'd review this. I mean, like, he's using parallel majors at the start of that, which makes it sound kind of more exotic and fun and positive. It'd be a bit too, like, kind of depressing, I think, if we stuck to traditional minor triads. Really playful with the vocals here. 16th note grooves on that. And a little bits of distortion there just to make kind of a different emotional kind of response there, a different angle there. It's so refreshing, dude. There's so much care taken, micromanaging, but in the best possible way. I want a fun little synth on the sides. Again, this is a classic example of sort of compositional development as we go along. You know, you never want to throw too much at a listener at once unless you're wanting to throw in everything at them. You know what I mean? But it's fundamentals being explored and put into effect, you know? So like was similar in the approach we had previously. This is more of a singly kind of single. I mean, I appreciate what's being done here from a formative and like, I understand what he's going for here. He wants to be a little more predictable than the previous ones, especially in a smaller or shorter form factor. You know, like the aesthetic is fantastic. The combination of those trappy hi-hats with the 808 and low end being nicely sidechained by the kicks. These wonderful sort of these synth pads on the sides there with this really simple melody to kind of as a foil or contrast to the more deliberate storytelling parts. Yeah, no, it's more traditional, and I like it. I don't know if it's as musically interesting as some of the other tracks we've had here, but it makes sense for a single. Which is why it's kind of weird to me that it's only going 13 million plays. I mean, only 13 million plays kind of sounds ridiculous. I know that like only 13 million plays sounds ridiculous, but I'm surprised that that's not one of the ones I led with. But at the same time, it's cool. It's cool, you know. Shinunoga-E-Wa, you know, that's obviously massive for him. But what we got lyrics wise though? Lyrics wise, no. number 4. Making good progress through this today, eh? Making good progress. Ah, okay. Because it's endless, I'll just end it here, or I'll just end up straying around endlessly. Because no way out. Oh, okay. All right, I get you. This journey of life ain't that easy. Oh. Okay. This journey of life ain't that easy. Is it? It's about like people sort of being a little bit less deliberate than they should be doing with their life and kind of realizing that time is flying by, and you know it's endless. As in the case of like if you aren't deliberate with the direction you go in, you will just find that life passes you by, and it will just be kind of difficult. I'm not sure. I think he's trying to say, especially when he talks about being back at school and everything like that. That life was maybe easier in his 40s or 20s, and now that he's a bit older, he's like, let's just do the best we can to keep moving forward in a positive direction. That's my interpretation of that one. It feels like a long ago when we were 20. It's an interesting statement. I personally felt as if life went a lot more quickly when I turned 20, but it's different for everyone. Still, I'm sure this, especially because Guy's 25, right? I'm pretty sure Fujii Kaze is 25, so the guy's young. It's probably a really kind of crazy, wild time for him at the moment. Like, especially imagine being that successful at 25. Imagine having this amount of success at the age of 25 or at the age of 22, because he was 22 at that point. Must have been mind blowing. No wonder he's having to sort of like look at what he's doing with his life and kind of figure that out. It'll be relatable to a lot of people in his audience. I think it's a really smart decision to make a song like that. We got Sumi-No-Kaori. Okay, the brass in here is a fun change. I enjoy that. Again, like it's really bombastic as a contrast to the smoothness that we had in the previous track, you know. I'm kind of not sure how, I'm not sure how the previous part we had with the the triplets or something like that. Oh no, they were just sort of staccato at 8th notes. I'm not sure how they kind of come into this, how he's going to link them together. I guess we're going to find out. Okay, modulation of that main vocal melody for the bridge. I mean, the brass is like an element we haven't really had up until this point, and I'm really enjoying the fact that Fujii Kaze is willing to be open to that. I think it's always a shame when you stay within your traditional set of instruments and don't really go outside of it. It's great to have that diversity within this and to sort of have one track maybe appreciate one specific element of it more than the other. I'm going back to that. There was a sense of chaos at the end of that last vocal line. And the use of cowbell with the brass parts is fun, alongside some drum fills. And just, I suppose, there's two different moods that are being staged there. I think there's a sense of like kind of chaos and sort of like da 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 da, whoa, what's happening? And back into the verse with this clarification of that. Far more relaxed vocal style there. further development there on that high end. Great balance. And that's a trick there when you like let everything kind of ring out just for a moment. Just let the vocals be the focal point. When you've already done so much work to try and build it up further and get it more and more intense, more and more sort of elevated, and then bam, let there be space before that final chorus line. Smart move. The drums would be fun to play. I love those triple grooves that shuffle there on the left side. Oh, the bass, man, bringing that up and that upper octave kind of upper octave support. He's like a traditional R&B kind of pop star. I don't know if he'd be as commercially ow, really kind of sore wrist at the moment. I don't know if he'd be as commercially successful if he had more instrumental solos. I think part of the success he's had is because he basically focuses on just the storytelling elements. Yeah, I mean, like, to be fair, like, you know, you say this track sounds a little bit loud at the beginning. It's a lot louder, at least dynamic-wise, than a lot of the tracks when he begins. He likes to start slowly and then kind of bring it up, but this one he's just like, bam, you know, smack at it. No chill until it stops and it becomes chill. But yeah. That's cool. That's cool. Great song, though. No real complaints about Sumi-No-Kaori. Definitely got himself some pipes there, and he knows how to entertain an audience and keep it sounding fresh. And I like the fact that we took a bit of a risk there with the brass and all the tom fills and everything like that. It was good. There was no that sort of change there. It was a bit more instrumentally kind of bombastic than the previous one. So I kind of like how different it was to what we've had before. So we're gonna give that a like. But lyric-wise, stop. Flavor of Sin. Oh, okay. So this one could be boosted because I could get lyrics for it. I could get lyrics for it that weren't on the that other website. Don't let me hear your voice. What the F you want from me? Flavor of Sin. Don't you dare touch anything. Leave him alone. Wow. Wow. Okay. Ego, could you shut up, please? I don't want you to be here anymore. Oh, okay, I get it. So this is about himself not having his own sort of like control over himself, sort of being sort of self-introspective and looking at his own weaknesses as a human being. Okay. Now I've got nothing to be ashamed of. I've got nothing else to be scared of. So is the ego like the loud bit? Coming in with the you know, that unpleasantness, and then the quiet bit is him saying, please, ego, please leave me alone. I really need you to stop. Because if that's the case, I think that tonally is a fantastic choice. I think that's really refreshing, that contrast there. It's wonderful. So, like, really clever decision there, I think. But of course, we have Chosi-Nochate for track 6. Oh, very different again than Sumi-No-Kaori. Oh, good response there with that cute little upper synth. Oh, that's a double bass. Yay! Good use of the double bass, dude. It's kind of like coffee shop jazz, this one, isn't it? Coffee shop jazz with someone kind of crooning sweetly on top of it. Interesting tone to the drums. Oh, the sparkle, the sweetness there on the sides, dude. Effortless head voice there. These little clicky sounds in addition to the main groove on the drum kit, just a little bits of nuance there that they would have had to separately gauge into the piece, because it doesn't sound like it's part of the drum kit. These little extra clicky bits, you know. Okay, bring it up. Ooh, back down. And back down. Okay, so familiar, easy to follow chord progression here. Oh man, that's such a... There's not a bass drop there at the start of that chorus, but there is an entrance there with an 808 or some low-end sub-bass that is charming. I like the fact as well that we have got that slight vocal harmony there, the down the octave part. It sounds like the chorus is closing out. Adds a bit of darkness to it as well, a little bit of suspense. Chosi-Nochate. Again, like, I'm not really feeling the need to say much about this track outside of what I've already talked about with the previous ones. It gets to a point when album review where you're effectively just repeating yourself per track. So, like, again, there's repeated use of extensions with these chord progressions there. There are some ones where I really just need to have a piano in this room so that I can talk. Oh, it's like a 1-5-6-4 or 2, 2-5-1 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I need a piano in this room so that I can sort of communicate that, which is something I might have a look into later on. But wait a minute. Sounds like a love song. I'm not sure if it is a love song, you know? Is it a love song? It's hard to know because I don't speak the language, but also that's the way he's voicing and expressing himself. Yeah, this is a bit more conservative as well. It sounds like we've come across a good theme musically, and we have a longer form story we want to tell, and we just need the instruments to kind of play nice and kind of give Fujii Kaze a bit of moment to speak his truth, and that's absolutely fine. It's a nice point in the middle of this album, you know? It doesn't need to be spicy all the time. We already had Sumi-No-Kaori, which was spicy with those ba 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 ba. I do like the use of the double bass, though. I think you can hear the full sound of that. It's very difficult to, I think, get a really authentic sounding double bass, especially you'd have to mic it. You can't DI it. You have to have like a mic'd and DI double bass. Do they make electric double basses? Can I just like double check on my other monitor? Do they make electric double basses? I need to know. Electric double bass. They do, but they're really dope. How much is an electric double bass? Oh, they're really expensive. They're like $7,000. Oh no, they're like $3,600. So that's not too bad, I suppose. That'd be kind of dope. I don't know where I would put a double bass, so I don't have enough room for one. But yeah, they're beautiful instruments, and I'm really glad that we featured it in here, especially with these jazzy elements and fusions that we've had so far throughout this album. Sup, Shunhan Lao. Welcome to the live stream. Hopefully you're having a good time. We are currently halfway through this album review. On to track 7 next, which is a fan favorite. A few people mentioned liking those, so that's cool. Yeah. And the Blue Dinner Box says listening to this track just feels good. I'm glad it feels good for you. Like it feels good for me too. There's been nothing in this album so far which has felt kind of unusual or unsettling or uncomfortable. It's been very much easy listening. Even those more bombastic parts that we had before, you know? But yeah. Chosi-Nochate. Oh, thank you for subscribing. Really appreciate that. Cheers for that, Shun Hon Lao. Welcome to the live stream. We're just going to look through some lyrics here, just so that I can kind of get a feel for them, and then we'll continue with the next track. So, your words make my head bigger, even I... Oh. Okay, so is this about someone like just being sick of the sycophant they have in their lives? Oh, no place to hide that sticking out thing of mine. Oops, I pushed my luck. My unsettled vanity put my head in the noose. Even with these bare feet, I can't take myself back. Damn, dude. Oh, snap. Okay. God is always watching how I think of myself. Wait, please have mercy on my soul. So I think there's been some themes on this album, some tracks where I think we've been exploring Fujii Kaze, trying to keep himself humble and not allowing himself to become bigger than he is. I think that's been a really powerful theme within this, as well as some stuff about relationships and lost love and everything like that. But it's nice to hear, again, someone at the age of like 22, and I think this was released, remembering to keep himself humble. It's really important, you know, because nobody likes someone who thinks they're better than you, you know? Nobody likes that. So it's great that he's humble like that. I mean, though, to be fair, he's a phenomenal musician, so I don't blame him for having an ego. And, you know, when an ego is used properly, it can be incredibly good. It's just when it goes a little bit too far, you know? Please don't push your luck. The one who is kind, always supportive. So I think he lost out on someone. He pushed his luck too far, and he ended up losing the person that was like really meaningful to him, and ended up with someone who was maybe a little bit too sort of pretentious and completely not what he wanted. But that's okay. We're on to track number 7. No. How are you guys enjoying the review so far? Hopefully you guys are having a good time. Remember, if you're watching this outside of the live stream, I will be doing more album reviews twice a month. Feel free to comment an album that you'd like me to review, and we may be able to do that. And if you want individual tracks reviewed, feel free to go check out the Patreon. If the links aren't in the description, I'll put them in the description later on. Okay, custom monthly reviews once per month. Anyways, Toku-Ninai, number 7. Just gonna let this play a little bit more. The unison between the piano and the vocals in here is sensational. I think it's really refreshing to listen to this and to hear someone who's aware of the power of unison and synergy between various musical elements, not only from a vocal to the overall harmony perspective, but from like a vocal to like the specific piano part. Again, I love the sound of the drums at the beginning. We had the drums at the beginning, or did we have the piano at the beginning? No, we had the piano. The drums came in later on. We had the clicking there, didn't we? At that part there. Here we go, cool. So we'll continue forward again. I just wanted to like confirm that. And again, the piano motif is fantastic. It's very rare that you actually have the drums start anything at all. Predominantly because I think people are more hardwired towards needing melodies or harmonies in order to get invested in a song. Oh, that guitar is charming.
Somebody slap my ass and let me go.
Oh, somebody slapped my ass. Oh no, we got lyrics. I forgot the lyrics, guys. Somebody slapped my ass and let me go. I forgot the lyrics. Sorry, guys. I'm forgetting the fundamentals. Really pretty playful little melody there. Works well with those soft synth pads. The drum groove is nice and refreshing, and it's a great sense of movement and pace in it. Everything's nicely leveled. There's absolutely no offensive melodies or harmonies within that. The tones are nice and work well together. Is he clapping? He is clapping there. A little bit of distortion in those vocals. Nice. Very eerie sounding. That love and just let me be. So this sounds like someone, somebody slapped my ass and let me go. So is this about like someone just becoming completely apathetic and needing to adjust to kind of change to the conditions, I suppose? Far more conservative arrangement here. I mean, the use of the guitars and the organs are fresh. And he doesn't actually finish on a note that resolves. I think he finishes on the 7th or something like that, so he doesn't want to commit to resolving the vocal melody so that it's pleasant. He doesn't go near that at the end. That's a brave move, but I dig it. Really charming, floating, dreamlike guitars on the right side. It's awesome, dude. Really pleasant. Yeah, great. So let's continue. That was Toku-Ninai, if I'm not mistaken. We got lyrics for that. Yeah, good times. Yeah, I'm surprised with how easy this album is to listen to, you know? It's so easy to listen to. It's so soothing. Again, I think Blue Dinner Box mentioned, yeah, now I can understand why I listen to this album all day. Absolutely. No surprises there at all. Not particularly, I do not have wishes. I walk with no expectation. Not particularly. Okay. Expecting something in return would always make us end up hurting. Okay. Craving some rewards. Okay, so this is about help. Toku-Ninai help. Not particularly. I do not particularly have thirst. I'm content with what I have. Okay. I think this is about someone that's potentially at the beginning going, they're just not feeling it. They've realized that maybe wanting things and chasing for that is maybe something that has not worked well for them. And then inevitably they've gotten to a point where they've just realized they're miserable. They need to kick up the ass, and they need to get to a point where they have to just accept that what they've got is what they have, and they need to show some gratitude for that in order to find peace within their situation. If they want to move forward, obviously, go for it. But it's about not chasing happiness through the pursuit of like things and stuff like that you want. I think that it's really wholesome philosophically. I think it's great messaging. And the guy is really mature for his age. I come across lots of 30 and 40-year-olds that still want more because they think that'll make them happy. And I'm definitely a candidate for that too. So I'm really mad respect for that guy. I will give that a like. Yeah. Even though it wasn't like, I like the messaging in it. I don't know if I necessarily thought there was anything completely like, well, it's nice to have a bit of English in there, I suppose, as well, so I can understand it. The guy did sing his English really well. It came through nice and clearly. So yeah, there's multiple things to appreciate. But Shinunoga-E-Wa, the big boy. Track number 8. So where are we going with this? So again, the peaceful, like consistently chill vocal aesthetic from Fujii Kaze with the trap drums, the vocal chops, that aesthetic there, the piano line that he's sort of well known for as well. He's a great pianist. Really easy chord progression to follow along to it with an unpredictable chord at the end. His chest voice is really dreamy. Like he's really comfortable in that low range. It's nice because like the proximity effect or something like that is being used. Or you go too close to the mouth and you sound like this. It's great. Get a bit of extra bass like that, The tightness of those snare samples as well and those kicks is wonderful. It's just there's absolutely no like hesitation to just let them cut out. They're so punchy because of that. And it works well legato, the other sort of legato or held or long form tones that we have throughout that and the rest of the composition. More of those claps as well, like the group clapping together. Great alternative form to the snare drum. That's so fantastic. The smoothness of the transition between the Shinunoga-E-Wa. That's such a smooth transition between those notes on the tail ends of those melodies there. The guy is really polished singer. and knows how. I think he's been pocketing for most of this. I'm sure he could do more technical stuff as a singer, you know, like far more complicated vocal runs and all that, but he knows not to overplay it. And just the scat kind of instrumental part, showing off his jazzy infusions in his background there, and the R&B soul vibes of those other sort of pad instruments and the keys there, dreamlike reverb, Nan. It's sensational, really. Nice filtering of those drums at the end. No, great. No, honestly, like no complaints about that whatsoever. I don't know. I mean, like I think it's because maybe I've heard it before. It's never the same experience listening to a track. And I think maybe it's also because I've watched him live. I do prefer his live take of this to the studio take. I'm actually gonna like probably go back to what Luke had found earlier and said that I kind of prefer some of his live stuff because it's a bit more kind of raw. It did seem like they were very, very, very safe and very smooth with the way that things were handled in this track, but I'm not necessarily upset about that. Shinunoga-E-Wa definitely deserves the success it had, I think, but I'm surprised that it hasn't translated to more players across the rest because I think personally there are a lot of other tracks within this album, such as, you know, Nan-Nan and, you know, Yasashisa, as well as even Sumi-No-Kaori and Toku-Ninai. Those, I'm surprised that they don't have similar amounts of plays, but I suppose it's just the Spotify algorithm in it, you know, prioritizing some tracks over others, you know. But yeah, Shinunoga-E-Wa, it's definitely a contender, man. At 3 minutes 05, it's right in that middle, that sweet spot between like 2 and 4 minutes. So you know that we got this great situation here where it's just it's short enough that people will be like, oh, I'm not going to spend too much time listening to this, and it gets to the point soon enough that you literally just you get sucked in immediately. That's part of the issue with Spotify, is that you really have to find some way to get people to not only listen to your track but also your album. You have to find some way to get a listener to hear more of your material. Yeah. The song got super popular on TikTok, so everyone is listening to it. So basically, if I'm not mistaken, you really need to find a way to get your song in TikTok. You really need to get your song in TikTok, because if you don't, it's just gonna be rough. That's my interpretation of it, is that a lot of people are driven to a song and they put the song in their playlist that they hear on TikTok, but they might not necessarily listen to an album, because a lot of people aren't really releasing albums, and if they are, it's more difficult to justify long plays to them. And a lot of people are like, well, why would I listen to this one album when I can listen to all these tracks I like the most from like 10 different people, you know? It's a tricky situation. Yeah. We got Kaze-Yo anyways. Kaze-Yo. Track number 9 here. But before, we got the lyrics though. The lyrics for this one. Luckily, this is the last one where the vocals are small. I don't know why they've chosen these ads for the Genius page. It's kind of tacky. I don't like it at all. It's kind of gross, man. And if I press X, it comes back with another one. Can I like just keep pressing X? Is it going to do more? No, it's not going to do more. Pinky swear if I do tell a lie, I'm willing to swallow needles or anything on Monday. It doesn't matter if it's Sunday. Oh my goodness. Wow. Oh, wow. So it's really, really committed to the whole, you know, if I had to keep being separated from you like this, I'd rather die. I'd rather die. Wow. So it's really that really intense attraction to someone. That's almost dependence on someone. That's what this track is about. It's so chill as if this is like a normal thing. The vocal, the way he sings here is it's his typical style, but it's kind of weird to me that he is so relaxed when he sings it like that, because it's something that's kind of really terrifying when you think about it, you know? Maybe it's just because I've been in toxic relationships and I'm kind of posing, but like whenever someone says, you know, I would pick you over 3 meals a day, it's like that doesn't necessarily sound romantic, especially when you've got this situation where you're using extended chords, and extended chords aren't traditionally happy or sad, they're nuanced. So there's a bit of tonal uncertainty here, but still it's fine. It's fine. I like it. It's not bad. It's just unsettling a little bit. And I think maybe that's something that I might sort of be like kind of confusing or something. It's all good. It's okay. Okay, so you know, even my heart is unfaithful, I'm still loyal to you. Okay. I'd rather die. Shinunoga-E-Wa, I'd rather die. Well, at least I'm learning Japanese whilst I do this. You know. Could have been a more intense performance. That's a fair comment. But I think the problem is that, in my opinion, you've got someone who is dedicated to the way that they're singing. They've got that kind of voice. I think it would have been so out of the wheelhouse for him to have gone more sort of stock barrel on that. I think it just would have been too much for him if he had really put in this one song in here that was kind of him crying out. You couldn't have put distortion on it. It was going to be the single. It's tricky. I think a lot of people relate to the aesthetic of, you know, the whole like really intense romance thing. I don't think it's good, but I understand that a lot of people sort of believe in that. Some people are like, if it's not intense, it's not real. Whatever, man. I'm not here to discuss, to debate, you know, moral high ground. I definitely can't take the moral high ground. But yeah, that was Shinunoga-E-Wa. Great song. We got Kaze-Yo, track number 9. Three tracks to go. I'm really enjoying this piano line. It's so soothing and like lounge jazzy. We've had lots of different kind of oral aesthetics within this album. Again, the parallel major here. He likes doing that. Sounds a bit sad, doesn't it? What? I've got Nushka over here, by the way. If you see me with my hand, I'm just going Nushka pats. Nushka's over here on the side. Hey. Kukio Nushka. Kukio. Ba 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 ba. Again, more of that double bass there, piano dancing around the sides. Lovely, lovely whispery kind of wispy voice there. Fits the aesthetic really well. He sounds more like he's crying out at this point, you know? There's more going on, I think, with this track than I was expecting at the start. Like, I like the piano as well as the broken chord guitar parts there where they're playing the individual strings there as a call and response to the piano on the other side. It sparkles. It glitters with gold, man. That vulnerability within this here, it's excellent. Yeah, I can hear that, LC. Absolutely. I can hear Easton doing a track like this. Right, lyrics. That was an incredible vocal run there. This is Fujii showing off a little bit. And I'm here for it because I personally feel as though he's been holding back this entire time. He's got the pipes. Let the man sing, man. Let him sing. That kind of waltzish, kind of dance triplet groove there is a new thing we haven't had a lot of in here, but I really appreciate that change in pace. It's nice to have that range rhythmically. I love the tone of that double bass. It really makes me want to get a double bass, dude. They're so cool. That's incredible. What an incredible effort. Like how the vocals just hover there, just over the pianos, just lightly. Sensational form there. The compression is just right. That's a fun note to end on. Not only showing off the prowess as a pianist, but also his full range as a vocalist. This is probably my favorite track off the album. Without a doubt. Kaze-Yo. I think that like initially, you know. What do you guys think about it though? Could have been, Luke fan says, could have been a more, oh no, that's the one from before. I like this one already sounding less produced, organic vocals. Stunning, sounds just great, vocals sound authentic. Absolutely, I agree. I think that it was a more raw vocal performance here. I think that while I appreciate why tracks such as Shinunoga-E-Wa are successful, he really does excel in these environments as well. And I hope that this song gets a lot of attention as well. I mean, to be fair, 9 mil plays is nothing. The guy is a talented vocalist regardless, but I do prefer his sort of more acoustic stuff. Elsie says, I prefer him singing like this personally, more humanity behind it. That's cool. That's great. Yeah, I think there is something so non-trivial about a person on a mic with an instrument just telling their story. It's so overblown and overdone sometimes nowadays. But if you just get someone who can sing well and play an instrument well and tell a story well and mean it, that could be just as powerful as this massive, huge orchestral friggin' big band situation. It could be just as meaningful, if not more. You know. But yeah, it's good to hear what you guys think so far. I'm glad that we're like in agreement with it. It's dope, man. We've got yeah, Kaze-Yo. Not this though. What are you doing? Stop giving me adverts, please. Dawning is a bleak town. Changing is the emptiness of people. Okay. Loading today's sorrow. Carrying tomorrow's delight. The wind carries them all along. This is beautifully poetic. What poetic lyrics. Like I really talked about is like the way he writes his lyrics, but the words are sensational. It's very poetic. I don't think there's been anything in here I haven't understood. You can tell he's still young. You know, you can tell there's not a lot of life experience being spoken about in here, but he was 22, you know, that's okay. You haven't lived in your entire life by 22, right? It's still articulate and easy to follow and memorable. Winds come here, though I want to go there. A bird unable to fly, fluttering in the air, suddenly falling down, spreads its wounded wings. We're praying, lead our way, wishing they would take us away. Don't let go of our joined hands. Allow me the courage to take off. So I think it's like someone accepting that the world around them is passing them by, like with the wind going by and everything like that. And they're trying to find the bravery to move forward in their own direction and, you know, spread their wings and fly. You know, they're aware of the consequences if they move too quickly or don't do things properly, and it makes them a bit nervous. But yeah, they just want to have the courage and they want to be supported and have their hand held. I think that's wonderful. This is definitely my favorite track off the album, for sure. Not only for the lyrics, but also because of the stunning vocal performance there, as well as the instrumentation, the motif behind it, which is so easy to listen to and charming. And when you listen to the lyrics, you put them together, they make a lot of sense. Sayonara Baby, track number 10. A little bit more peppy. There's a peppy vibe, guys. I like the kind of guitars coming back in, a bit of distortion and grit on them. A bit more forcefulness behind the vocals, but still within his range. I'm sorry, is this just genuinely an upbeat song? What? I'm sorry, we've got a new contender for favorite song. And it's not just because it has guitars. It's just so upbeat and kind of positive and kind of like, even though there's a bit of like nuance there with some of those extensions, it's a great chord progression. It's a charismatic vocal performance. Lots of range to the drums there. It's unique tonally to what we had previously. Really tight performance-wise. You know, those drums and guitar are just scintillating. A bit of vibrato, tremolo there. The warbling is fun. Nothing wrong with that, Luke fan. It's okay to like simpler stuff, you know? Oh, it's the organ on top, like the Hammond. That's the warbly, vibraty thing on the side. Oh, and that fell. Chef's kiss, man. Oh, and that's kind of what I like there. You know, we had a different tone there. We had different instruments there. It was more of a kind of an old pop rocky kind of tune there with a few sort of jazzy infusions. But here, interlude, it's his vibe. Well, like in the back, that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. Doesn't resolve. That was such a splendid little vocal run as well. Like just that. I mean, I can't. Sorry, guys. I can't sing like he can. But yeah, just it's awesome. It's just so effortlessly vibrant. effortlessly vibrant. I just loved how the bass kind of came up with like the slide and was exploring as well in upper range and stuff. Things came up to sort of like ascend and naturally kind of soar above the clouds and everything. For halftime, great fun, dude. I don't even mind a double chorus. It's catchy as hell, dude. Catchy as hell, man. But he did a difference in the vocal, the vocal line at that halfway point because he knew it was double. He knew he was doing the chorus twice. So he had to change that vocal, that melody tail at the end. Woo! Okay. There's no chill, man. The radio filter with the distortion. Smart move, dude. Smart move. Guitar solo. Just drives forward. I'd say it'd sound phenomenal live LC. The phaser at the end? Hell yeah, man. Okay, that's beautiful. That's a 10 out of 10 for me, man. Sayonara, baby. No complaints there, you know. Cause like again, like I was kind of worried with doing two choruses at that sort of 2/3 mark. What are we gonna do differently to continue to build this one up? You know? But then we did it. We managed to make it bigger. We managed to do those really articulate, phenomenal vocal run. And then we had a guitar solo at the end, which, as you guys know, is basically a 0 out of 10 on my score, you know. I'm kidding. Great stuff, though. Sayonara, baby. Excellent track. What are the lyrics about, though? You know. Sounds like Luke at fan says, sounds like something Yoga Lin would sing. Oh, we should do a Yoga Lin album. We should do that, eh? Have we done Sayonara Baby? Have we done the song Sayonara Baby live? Blue Dinner Box. Because I don't remember listening to this one. I feel like I'd remember it if I did. I know I've listened to Shinunoga-E-Wa live, for sure, because that one got blocked immediately. I feels younger listening to this. I feel you. I feel younger listening to this as well, Blue Dinner Box. It makes me, it's reminiscent of a lot of the pop, the rock music from like the mid-2000s when I was a teenager. Yeah, I figured we hadn't listened to this one live, but that's okay. That's okay. Goodbye, baby. No, I don't want to look at Taylor Swift and Dolly Parton. Stop it. What do we got? Saying goodbye is how I'll say I love you. As for me, I really did want to stay with you forever. But isn't parting a road that we all got to go down at some point? That's why I won't show you my tears as I say goodbye to you, baby. Oh, no, that's really sad. So this is about, even though you love someone, you've got to go because you've got to go on your own journey. It's a love song because you love that person, but you love them so much that you feel that pain. You've just got to kind of put yourself first at the same time, you know? It's kind of beautiful, man. Like, because that life can be that brutal sometimes, you know? You really just have to let some people go. It's not nothing that no one did anyone wrong. You know, no one did anything wrong. It's just what happens. Beautiful song, wonderful lyrics, really well expressed by Fujii Kaze. Excellent. It's different. So I'm glad that I do the lyrics. We got Kaerou, last track of the album. We'll do lyrics for this one because I remembered to do them this time. Oh man, his voice is dreamy, man. Yeah, that's exactly right, Elsie. That's my interpretation of it. Yeah, I think that he was happy in the previous song to like, it's bittersweet. I don't think it's a totally happy vocal performance, and there is again those extended harmonies in the chorus to show it's not a totally happy thing, but he's trying to put on a brave face. It's actually really clever songwriting. And again, contrast, change. Okay, nice plucks of the strings in this part. Great sense of presence there. Is it quick or is it eighth notes? Eighth note accents. I'm liking the urgency, the change in tone and approach here. This is kind of like a guy flying through the music spectrum. Like, his voice can go wherever he wants it to. And the strings and the piano and everything fluctuates around him, and all these different notes, he touches them and harmonizes off of them in some way, kind of unifies with others. It's really, this is someone who's at the top of their game, at the age of 22, might I add, and can just do whatever he wants there. He doesn't need a drum kit to instantiate rhythm. He has the piano and the various kind of grooves and accents and intensities of playing to be able to carry that across. I'm so glad that I got to review this album today. I'm so glad that I reviewed it. I'm so glad to have a better understanding of him as a musician, you know? And things come down a little bit. Nice change of pace, dynamic range, and change of energy levels. Oh, the drums are coming in now, so it's more of a ballad format. How many different instruments do we have in this album? And it's just the little shuffles, the little shakers. I mean, I cannot imagine the scope of the composition of this. How many people did they need to like hire on to do this? How much of this is samples and how much of it is actually recorded? The drums are subtle, but they're still a welcome addition here. It's like a fairy tale. I'm sorry, is he harmonizing with himself up an octave as a sub-layer? Holy shit. He's probably done this a couple of times, but I've just noticed it now, and it's just, not only is he that articulate and expressive, Also, final note before we continue, I'm pretty sure that's an 808 on the bottom. How the hell he's managing to get an 808 to work well with strings is just another level, dude. They don't usually go together, but they are now. That's a great way to finish an album. What a feeling. I mean, I don't know what the lyrics are going to be like, and I don't know if I should be feeling happy, sad, or anything in between right now, but wow, dude. Ah, sensational. Wow. Dude, we just finished the Help Ever Hurt Never album. We just listened through that. That was so cool, man. I am damn near always like, I'm damn near always always authentic with with what I say in these reviews. You know, I don't like to BS people. I am so thankful to have listened through this album today. It really opened my eyes to how Fujii Kaze is as an artist. I just didn't know the scope. And I think that unless I had listened to this album, I wouldn't have known what he was capable of. You know? I'm glad that Luca fans his last 3 tracks seem like ace. I'm glad that you enjoyed them. Blue Dinner Box says, it's wholesome. Heck yeah, it's awesome, man. It's sick, man. And Elsie says, I've never heard this song in my life, but how am I singing along to it? That's the power of well-written music, man, is that even if you don't know the lyrics, you'll still want to try anyways. Let's do the lyrics for this track, though. Figure out what the last story to tell is, and then we'll do the conclusion. Let's go home. Damn, man. Damn, what a way, what? Let's Go Home is such a smart way to finish an album as well. Just the title. We're going home. We're done, right? You fade into the sunset while I disappear into the dawn. If we are to never cross each other's paths ever again, then that is our fate. Which is interesting from what we talked about in the previous track where he felt the need to go in his own direction, so he had to leave. You burn a light as I search for it. I'm not scared. Oh. Damn, man. So he's just working and trying to get through his life, and this has kind of taken him out of kilter, you know? Let's let the refreshing wind guide us home. That's interesting because we were talking about wind earlier on. And it's nice to know those themes come back. The idea of a wind blowing us places and taking us to various sectors and everything like that and showing us the journey, you know? You complain while I let out my lingering affections. If I just at the end, let me feel like a god because this is what being a human is. Man, questioning like his own existence and knowing that even if he wasn't there, it would still spin. Knowing that he's not the center of attention and that actually makes him feel happier. Which kind of, I think, goes back to the ego stuff that we were talking about earlier that he was talking about in the song. So mature. What good does mutual resentment bring us? As for me, well, I'll be the first to forget. Ah, how should we live from today on? Oh. Oh, that's a big one. That's a big one. I can definitely say I wasn't thinking this deeply at 22. Dude, neither was I. And anyone who thought that they were this mature at 22 probably wasn't mature. Because maturity is realizing, I think that you're fallible, that you're imperfect, and that you've got a lot to learn, and that life is a journey. These are, because this is my conclusion. I'll leave myself in this form here instead of going big because I want to have the chat up. And I think just before I go any further, thank you to you all for sticking through this review. I appreciate it. Hopefully, if you haven't listened to this music before, you've found new songs that you like. And you can obviously go check out Fujii Kaze. The link's in the description of this video for the album link is in there if you want to go check it out. I would agree, Blue Dinner Box. He does deserve the popularity. Let's just go through the typical thing. What do I think this album is about? Help Ever, Hurt Never. That title is very important because I think a lot of what this album is about Fujii Kaze realizing that up until the point that he's at, he's maybe just been taking things for granted, taking people for granted, etc. He hasn't really been living a life where he's been benefiting others and where things have been mutual. And he's just kind of realizing now as he grows up that maybe he needs to start thinking more of other people, like doing stuff for himself, not taking relationships for granted, setting boundaries, for himself, looking at what he needs to do. And he's realizing that he needs to keep his ego in check and just to sort of like be more respectful and try and give more. And I think that it's wonderful. It's wonderful philosophy from someone who, from a vocal perspective, comes across as so down to earth and so respectable, so self-aware. And, I think that when I say that someone's intelligent, it's more in the sense that even if he's made sort of dumb mistakes that he talks about some of the mistakes he's made, he's intelligent enough to be aware that those were mistakes. And he understands that there's ways to change that so that it doesn't happen again. He's clearly really competent as a songwriter, a lyricist, and as a vocalist. He's tremendous. I think that it's self-evident in the work that he does there. His head and chest voice is wonderful, fantastic legato passages, really fascinating vocal runs that we have on the end of some of those parts, and there's lots of variation throughout the tracks. But it's also just that he knows not when to overstep. He knows how to sing to the song. He knows not to overwhelm the listener with too much kind of crazy stuff going on at the beginning or the end or wherever. It's really songs like Kaze-Yo or Sayonara, baby, with these little flashes of ridiculousness, which shows what he's capable of. And it's sometimes in the points where you have less of a reason to be conservative that he does simply to allow the listener to appreciate the tune more. I liked in Nan-Nan and Mohe-Wa how he just allowed the 5-minute tracks to have the instrumental part for the last minute. I think that was so respectful to his backing. Clearly, there's a fundamental appreciation of the motifs and the accompaniment that are allowing his story to sit on or stand. And it's just really great to hear someone who's not only focused on telling his story, focused on providing a good experience for the listener, but I think it's more than that. Even if the attitude that he sort of possesses and displays and communicates doesn't necessarily change throughout, I think that works because it's such a chill way of looking at life in general. And this is one of the rare occasions where I think you have an expression of him, a sense of self, where maybe the changes were really subtle. Maybe the nuance was in the stories that were being told. But whatever he comes across, he manages to smash it out of the park. I do prefer when the takes are more raw. I think Shinunoga-E-Wa is fantastic with the way it's sung. I do prefer the stuff which is more sort of like acoustic and more sort of vulnerable and intimate. Although Sayonara Baby was more upbeat, and I appreciate that as well. They're all strong tracks. Just personal preference and subjective, which is why I don't want to say I think his vocals are better in those ones than others, because it is subjective. You got to have a limit. Subjective doesn't mean better, in a general factual sense. I like to try and sort of analyze it from stuff I can sort of quantify so that I don't sound like an idiot. I think that the tracks, typically, they were structured between 3 and 5 minutes. So clearly, you have someone who's aware that a listener may not have a whole lot of time to listen through an entire like long form track. Whatever song he came across, he either allowed the instruments to play their parts and have a wonderful sort of development there, or maybe in Sumi-No-Kaori where things were really chaotic, I think. You know, and you're welcome, LC. It's a pleasure to review it. I want to do more reviews this year out of curiosity. You know, I can't guarantee you guys will like all of the reviews that I do, but most of them will be fan request albums anyways. Like I think people enjoyed the Sheena Ringo album as well. And I don't know if you guys will enjoy the next album I'm doing. It's a King Cobra one. There's going to be an audience for that. It might not be you. The music's kind of not, it's not for everyone. But I'm doing it just as a final chance for him because he's a bit of a niche kind of thing. But we'll get back to sort of semi-regular stuff afterwards. We'll probably review more Fujii Kaze in 2024. I just want to allow this year for a wide range of different musicians. And obviously, if we do get to 8 or 9 or 10K, we'll do Jay Chow's albums then. I know there's going to be some people who are like, why aren't we doing Jay now? But I don't want to. I want to review stuff like this. You know, we got all the time in the world to review Jay. And if you want to, the Jay Chow review or anything, just remember to subscribe, like and subscribe. And there's live streams every Saturday. I think there's a fan request one next Saturday. Anyways, continuing at the conclusion, the tracks are well structured and they've got fantastic movement between the different verse, interlude, and chorus sections. I really enjoy the fact that we had a nice amount of range with the different styles of instruments we had there, as well as the different genres. We had elements of like soul, R&B, jazz, funk, kind of pop, rock, sort of acoustic ballads, piano formats, etc. We could do Zhang Yuxing again this year. We could do another Zhang Yuxing album. We did it last year, so it's probably time for another Zhang Yuxing album. So we could do Zhang Yuxing for sure. I'd be keen to review another one of his albums. Probably won't be for a little while though, because there's a few others. Like I really need to review an Omnipotent Youth Society one and stuff, but I want to just do it. So yeah, that might be. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. It's still on my mind, but yeah. Just there's a lot of different styles of music in here that I think Fujii Kaze paid attention to really well. The way there's vocals, the instrumental choice there, the different grooves there, etc. They're fantastic. I mean, if we talk about the different instruments in this, we had guitars, bass, drums, brass, strings, synths, pianos, sample packs. We had bits of foley, etc. We had different vocal distortions as well and backing vocals as well. How he harmonized up the octave with himself and did modulations down and stuff. There's so much range in this. Some tracks are huge and they have the whole entire big band feel bombastic and really in your face and really intense. And sometimes it's just Fujii with Kaze with the piano. And whatever he does, he manages to turn to gold. I'm not saying I had the same emotional or personal reaction to every track, but I did enjoy the vast majority of these, hence most of them being liked or loved, so to speak. But yeah, I want to hear more of him because he's shown that tonal range throughout this. But it's not just the instrumental choices with fantastic variations in rhythm, harmonies, like there's such range from a music theory and composition perspective. But it's also just the fact that he managed to find a place in the mix and the arrangement of the composition for each of them that made sense. And it's very difficult to do that. There were no points where things sound like too much or too intense or whatever. And I know that like in Sumi-No-Kaori, that like I know that it was a little bit too much. Maybe I think Blue Dinner Box mentioned it was a bit loud at the start. That's okay. That's just dynamic range. I think that was a deliberate thing on his part. We can agree to disagree on that, but I think it was loud at the start on purpose because, and from the mixing master perspective, which I'll go to in a moment, I think that it was a deliberate move to not have things too crushed with the compression and limiting and stuff. I think that was a deliberate one to make it sort of more human, more live sounding. Because I think with this kind of music, if it sounds too synthetic, it becomes unbelievable and disingenuous. And I think we managed to avoid that here really well. I suppose just to continue forward with this, the jazzy extensions that came in here were coupled well with the rest of the elements in there, but we also had some really nice sort of power quarter parts. The distorted guitar was great. Drum grooves for days, all sorts of them, the main 4, quarters, eighths, triplets, and sixteenths there. The bass was fantastic, exploring the fretboard there, nice and up, so some up in the fretboard occasionally. It's when there was space in the Fujii spectrum, but mostly supportive of those root notes. The brass and the strings, etc., they fluctuated and sort of danced around the stereo field and all that, finding notes and little niches to go in where Fujii Kaze wasn't, or to unify with them and make a bigger sound. The samples here, the sort of the trappish drums we had occasionally, I was thinking they were going to be a little bit too much, but they never became that way because they were sub layers, and the mixing and mastering was down there flawless. Yeah, man, honestly, like, I think I've spoken about the things I like from each album, so I don't want to sort of focus too much on this because I don't think I can sum up an album's like songwriting in like without it being another half an hour, but you know what I mean. Um, just it was always appropriate and never felt strange or uncanny. I just like the fact that, as a final comment before we go into the recording, mixing, mastering, that we never allowed ourselves to get too unfamiliar, like too familiar with the traditional major and minor shapes and the chord progressions and key signatures. We'd always look into like parallel majors or minors, where we'd usually have a minor chord but would do a major instead. That move, he loved doing his parallel majors, where we would expect to go into a minor key, but actually he lifts it up, it ascends, becomes more joyous because of that. Yeah. Yeah. I need a moment before I go into the recording, mixing, mastering. You can always find a right song to fit your mood in this album. I would agree with that, Blue Dinner Box. I think for me, it'd be more intimate and more sort of like personable if I understood the language myself. But I don't. But I can still understand how the lyrics came with the music. And I can understand why you feel that way. It's awesome. And Elsie says, subjectively, do you find Japanese language or Mandarin sounds better musically? I think it depends on how it's sung, man. Like there's stuff from Japanese musicians, like stuff from people who speak Mandarin. I think that there's beauty in both. It just depends on how they're used. It really depends. Yeah, I don't know enough about the languages individually to really sort of specify which is better. I think it's entirely dependent on context. Entirely dependent. Yeah. I don't think English, by the way, I don't think English is a particularly beautiful language. I don't think English sounds good musically. I don't think it sounds good musically. With English, you really have to sing it in a way that suits it. But with like Japanese, or which is like predominantly sort of like rhythm based, and in Mandarin, some of the sounds sounds a lot softer with less hard consonants, which I adore. There's pros and cons to both. But anyways, yeah, the recording, mixing, and mastering was incredible. Commercial grade. Recording was down there flawless. Lots of dynamic range in that. You could hear the little kind of the sizzle of those vintage preamps on his voice. One had fantastic presence alongside the guitar, bass, drums, strings, the brass, the synths, the keys, everything alongside it had a place in this mix that made sense. The guitars were double tracked. Bass was nice sidechain to the drums when it needed to be or when it didn't need to be. It's fine either way. Yeah, man, it's just it's beautiful. I don't think I've listened to an album that's been this well mixed and mastered in quite a while. I can understand some people think it's overproduced. Me personally, I think that it's just like, I'm glad we had tracks where they weren't as balanced dynamically, where you had a flattening of that limiting compression to kind of keep things too close together. It's why like Kaerou and Kaze-Yo, I'm glad that we had things a little bit more sort of like free in regards to dynamic range and changes in energy levels there. I'm glad we had more movement there because it gave you the best of both worlds. Nice and wide in the stereo field, no weird resonances in the frequency spectrum, and the album overall was nice and loud without pumping, with lots of change there dynamically. I mean, dude, it's an absolute banger. This is my review, my live stream of Fujii Kaze's Help Ever Hurt Never. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show some love to Fujii Kaze via his various social medias and a Spotify page. Next week we have the live stream for the fan requests. So if there's a song that you want me to review in real time, you can come to the fan request. It'll be scheduled on the YouTube page. Join the SP Discord as well. I'll make sure there's links for that in the description. You can chat to me on Discord and we can talk about whatever. It's super chill. And just, yeah, like, seriously, like, have a great weekend. Have a great weekend. Okay? And I'll catch you in the next live stream. Thank you for watching this. Spiderhands out. 3, 2, 1.